yeah, I enjoyed my life, and it didn't worry me because I was making money, and it only became a problem when I wasn't making money. But at that point, I was about £100,000 in credit card debt. Dealing with debt and helping people get out of debt is now something I'm really, really passionate about. If the money that's going out is more than the money that's coming in, it's not going to work. If you've got a loan that's 10% and you're earning 3% in a savings account, that doesn't make sense. Clear the loan.
I had, a laptop, phone, everything paid for by the company. And then the minute life hits you and you have a pain, you grow.
Nobody changes unless the pain of staying the
Yes.
same is worse than the pain of change.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Money Honey with me, your host, Rosalia Lazzaretilli. Now, imagine going on maternity leave and coming back and you ain't got a job. How about that? How would you feel when you're about to give birth to your first baby and you're going to bring someone else into your life because you are going to take care of them? And actually, you go back to your job or try to go back to your job and it's been replaced by 3 other people and there isn't a future for you there. When you gave them everything, you sweated in that place and there is nothing for you there. So today, who we've invited on the show is a money honey that is very close to my heart because she was a friend first, and then a client for a very short period. We did some work together and still remains a friend to this day. She actually came out for birthday drinks with me the other day and some wonderful other girls. But there are so many challenges that this woman has been hit in the face with, some of which we will not be talking about on the show. I absolutely can guarantee you that this show is about being your true self, but nothing that might position you in a really conflicting way, or that might, jeopardize your safety or anything like that will not be discussed. If it's something that is uncomfortable to you, we remain super confidential. But there is a story that Katy, my money honey today, would like to bring on the show, and it is going to tap into that struggle of being a single mum and trying to raise a family with having lost your job. And then she is also going to tap into a story about how she ended up in 100 grand worth of debt. And today she stands very tall and proud and successful as a mortgage and protection advisor. So without further ado, let me welcome you to the wonderful Katy Eatenton. How are you doing, honey?
I am very good, thank you. Lovely to see you.
Yeah, and you, babe. Thank you for being
Seen
on
you
the show.
twice in a couple of weeks and
I
hadn't seen you
know,
for
right?
ages before that.
I know. We spent way too long. Like, we disconnected for a long time just because life gets busy,
Life.
doesn't it? Life. But also, I think it's because like social media makes us think we're closer than we are, because you're always posting. I'm like, yes, like she's posting, and I'm seeing you every day. Like your face is on my social media every day, so I kind of feel like I am in touch with you, but maybe just not.
Yeah.
But we needed those drinks, didn't we? That day was really, really
Yeah,
good.
no, it was good. Food was lovely.
Yeah, really great day. But give us an intro, Katy, just in who you are and what you do before we dive into your stories. For anyone who doesn't know you, give us an intro.
As you said, I'm Katy Eatenton. I do what it says on the tin. I'm a mortgage and protection advisor, but I'd like to think I'm so much more than that. I build relationships and long-term relationships. I look after my clients as though they're my family, and I'm actually probably better than my family. My family will probably argue at times, but yeah, I see it as so much more than a job. I'm very passionate about it, very passionate about looking after people in the best way possible, and getting them into massive debt and then helping them get out of it if needs must. So yeah, that's my day to day.
Experience, haven't
Pardon?
you? That's your day to day, but you've done that from experience. You'll see people's bank statements and credit scores and being in debt, and you can empathize with that, right? Because you said you went through it.
Yes. Rewind along. I mean, it seems like it was not that long ago at all, but actually it was 17 years. when the credit crunch happened. So let me go back to how you introduced me, which was how I even became a broker. So I was working for a property developer. I used to source his property deals and run his mortgage business and run his building business. So went on mat leave, was still working up until I was literally giving birth. Was off for a couple of months, went back, and it wasn't a horrible, sacking. He just had to fill my position with three people and just felt that he couldn't let them go, or didn't want to, or whatever the challenges were for him. But to be honest, it was the decision that changed my life. So if he had have taken me back, who knows where I'd have been. I My daughter was 3 months. He'd paid for me to do my CMAT, but I hadn't done them. So I did that, obviously passed my exams, and the rest, they say, is history. Worked on my own very closely with a family member and getting experience with him. And then went off to run a brokerage based in Croydon. And that then gave me experience with working with other brokers, or other people, not even brokers. I was the only actual broker. But then the credit crunch happened in 2008. I had just bought my house, so I just upsized from a flat to a house. I'd literally been in there a week, I think. Credit crunch happened. He decided he wanted to close and become an estate agent, and I was therefore jobless, or rollless. I was always self-employed, but I had a place, and I had run up loads of debt because I was making money, but I was spending it quicker than I was making it. But at that point, I was about £100,000 in credit card debt, with no job, brand new house, loads of furniture and everything on finance. So I had to think very quickly on how to get out of that and what I needed to do. Obviously, my daughter was still little. She was, so I had to just head down, dig deep, go without certain things, and lean on previous clients for referrals, and just get myself out there. And I built up what I needed to from 100 grand in debt, basically. So
Did you go from basically you were spending the money because you were in a great job, you thought, that would never end, right? You had a great salary, you just kept spending it on why were you using credit cards?
I don't, because it was easy, because as soon as you buy a house, they throw credit at you.
Right.
I was probably supporting life. I had nursery fees, and I was a single mum and a little baby or toddler or whatever she was then. And yeah, I enjoyed my life, and it didn't worry me because I was making money, and it only became a problem when I wasn't making money. And actually, at the time, it probably wasn't 100,000 then. It became 100,000 because I wasn't working, and I had to rely on credit to get me through a period. And yeah, I poodled along on my own for a bit. And it gets very lonely when you're on your own. I was working from home, and yeah, it was difficult. But I had to get out of it. And I think, when you're faced with nothing else but to make it happen, I couldn't let my daughter down. I couldn't default on my mortgage. Luckily, it was like interest only back then, but I think the rate was about 8%. It wasn't like it was now. And I reached out to the estate agents that I worked with when I was working with the developer, and just just really focused on networking and getting myself out there and doing a really good job. And a lot of my clients now are still our clients from then that have remortgaged and children and have used me. So it's been a long time, 21 years now.
Position are you in today, Katie? Who are you today that got yourself from that position to now?
So I got myself out of that position and I was totally debt free bar my mortgage.
How long did that take?
Oh, it didn't take long. It didn't take long. I had a really, really good accountant that we sat down and we made a we made a plan, and there was no takeaway, no this, no that. We just, we had a plan of exactly every penny, and I stuck to it. I mean, it took, I don't know, couple of years. It didn't take long, as
Your
long as you
debt
were
and go back.
yeah, it didn't take long, but I've been like totally debt. I was totally debt free for years, and then I got myself in a little bit of a pickle last year, actually. And so dealing with debt and helping people get out of debt and managing debt and your finances as a bigger picture is now something I'm really, really passionate about, because even though now I make I'm in a much better position in terms of my business and the volume of business and the business that I write now, due to circumstances totally out of my control at the beginning of last year, I've found myself back in way more debt now than I should be for the volume of business that I write. And that's just purely because I've had to hemorrhage money on legal fees. And,
This is that situation we cannot talk
which
about.
I'm not going to talk about because
We're not going to talk about it, but
yeah.
I now know what you mean. And so obviously life has hit you again.
Yeah, so hence why I'm so, where I said to you, I'm like, it's almost as horrible as it is being in debt. And there's good debt and there's bad debt. Good debt is mortgages and, assets that generate income and using debt for that. Other debt is bad debt. And although it's overwhelming and it's horrible, when you know that you can do it and you know that you haven't got a choice but to do it, and I've done it before, I've got processes in place that I can do it again, it's actually quite exciting to see how quickly I can do it again. Now my head is not dealing with the problem from last year. It's now back on getting myself on top. And I just had to, I had to go back in. I was a lot quieter on social media last year. Obviously, I gave up drinking. So I'm nearly 2 years with no alcohol. So I don't really go out that much anymore. So I feel like I'm laser focused. And it, in a weird kind of way, I'm excited to see how quickly I can get out of it again, if that makes
I'm
sense.
excited, but well, because what you probably have learned. So, right, tell us. I'm not going to put words in your mouth. To try and get out of the debt that you had before, what lessons and activities or skills did you have to employ, develop, learn in order to get out of the debt the first time round?
So it's a shift in the way that you think about it. A lot of people will get a bit of extra money and try and pay everything all off at once. This is what I did. That's not what I did. What I'm telling you now is what I did. So the way that I did it was look at all of my debts, write every single one down, every single bit of money that I spent on anything, whether it was life insurance, car insurance, takeaway, kids football now, whatever it is, every single bit of money that you spend, personal trainer, the health supplements, fun money, holidays, everything, and then work out, obviously that's your outgoings. And there's no point in working the way that we all, or I work anyway, if I'm not going to enjoy some of it. So there has to be time with my children, there has to be a holiday, there has to be time for me, otherwise you end up resenting it. And it's harder to maintain that focus when you're getting up thinking, oh, all I'm going to do is at work to clear my debts. And so you need to have that in place, that fun money or that holiday or that time that you know is yours, and you're factoring that into your budget. So what I did, wrote down all my debts, minimum payment for everything, whether it a loan, a credit card, all the interest rates for everything. I mean, at the time, I think I had saucepans on finance. I got what is Salad Master, so they're like £3,000 saucepans that don't give you cancer. They're non-stick. They're like made from titanium. I mean, I love a gimmick. So I'm like Instagram or Facebook shops perfect client. Anything that pops up, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I really want to buy that. And that was what I used to be like, because obviously when you've got money coming in, it doesn't matter if you click to buy that thing because you can pay for
But
it.
you've just reminded me, sorry, Katie, but that is a really good point. Can we just look at social media and the how it entices you to buy all the time? Like
Constantly,
I literally just bought my
constantly.
head from TikTok for £3.
Yeah.
But you just think it's £3. Like who the hell
Mm.
cares? I'm
Yeah.
an agency owner, I'm a public speaker, I can afford £3, not a problem. But that's that spending habit. It's a dopamine hit, isn't it? That you're
Yeah.
constantly spending.
The
Jesus.
amount of £100, that £100 is, when I used to drink, £100 was the night out. So in my head, I'm like, it's £100. But
Yeah, maybe
actually,
I'll go out. Well, yeah.
that £100 and that £100 and that £100, and before you know it, your credit card statement is thousands of pounds. It's not that £100. So I've taken all. So that how I did it before. Sorry, jumping about a little bit.
No, I
But
love this. Go
I
for it. Go
I
with the
did.
flow.
I wrote all of my debts down, all of the minimum payments, what I needed for my car insurance, for my holiday, everything. Sorry, I've just seen that I've got marks in my hand. And we then picked one thing for me to give up. So at the time, I was having a takeaway every week. So it's just me and my daughter, and that was our little thing. And I'd spend probably £30 on a takeaway, which over the month is £120. Even though it's only 30, it's only 30, it's only 30. So all I had to give up, this was my accountant, bless her, she, like, rest in peace, but she was so lovely. And she actually made it, you can just give up one takeaway. I mean, I should have been giving up all of them.
She was trying to be flexible with you and giving
Yeah,
you, yeah.
actually, no, I was having.
When you say rest in peace, has she
So
passed
she
away?
passed away a couple of years ago from cancer, but she was just the most amazing woman. She's so full of life. She's just amazing. So sorry, I was having two takeaways a week, and we narrowed it down to one. So I had an extra £120 every month to put towards my debt. So it wasn't massively affecting my life, but that £120. So we had a list of all of the payments, and that £120 I had to pay extra on the most expensive debt. Fast forward, so we had X amount of money that we were spending every month on savings, on this, and have separate bank accounts. So your wages come into one account, you put your savings in one account, you put your bills in another account. So everything's separate. So you don't then see money in your account that's not really yours to spend. So I'd clear one debt, pay one debt with an extra £120. And then once that's gone, the next debt would be the 120 plus the minimum payment on the one that's now clear, plus the minimum payment on the next one. So every time you clear a debt, the next debt is getting paid. Like in the end, I was paying over £2,000 like a month to clear stuff because it was just accumulating. So that's how I did it. I need to do it a little bit. A takeaway is not going to help me now to get out of debt as
You're going to
quickly as
need
I
to
want
pick
to.
something bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I've done now, I've taken all of my cards off my phone, all of my cards off anything pre-populated, because it is the little £100 here, the £50 here, the tapping to go and get a coffee that I don't need. It's just making little changes, and obviously you've got to earn more money. You can't if the money that's going out is more than the money that's coming in, it's not going to work. So I have looked at my business, where I can add value to my existing clients. I have looked at ways that I can reach more people in less time rather than everything being one-to-one. I have actually worked out so I created a little method. It's called a twin method because it's easy for me to remember, and I've got twins, so
That is
that's
cute.
easy.
I love
But
it.
I was on a speakers course and they were like, why don't you everything you talk about have a strategy to it, like a acronym? So I was like, well, twin, that's easy. So the T, I was like, right, time. How can I save time, but still generate the most amount of money? Talk to more people at the same time is one example. How can I make my money make money? So I'd never invested anything. I didn't have any money doing anything. So I looked at that. And obviously it doesn't make sense putting money, if you've got a loan that's 10% and you're earning 3% in a savings account, that doesn't make sense. Clear the loan. So I had to look at ways I can make my money work, or not work, or to clear it rather than making it work. And then the I was for intention. So why am I doing it? What do I need? Do I need to make £1 million? Do I need 100 grand? Do I need 20 grand? No, I had to work out what was enough. And then anything above and beyond that was then will go off debt. And then the last one is numbers. You need to know what your overheads are, what your tax liabilities are, what you need to function on a day-to-day. And this is in business and in personal. It's all well and good knowing what your bills are at home, but if you don't know what your bills are at work, you don't know how many sales you need or clients you need or how much income you need, if you don't know what's going out and what each client is worth in value. Because again, it doesn't make sense if you need, I don't know, pulling a figure out of the air, you need £100 an hour. It doesn't make sense talking to somebody for 6 hours to make £100 when you can talk to somebody for 1 hour and make £100. So it's looking at things as one and seeing where you can make tiny bits of difference. But I'm always all or nothing, so I will either smash it or I won't.
I know you'll
So,
smash it
well,
because the
yeah.
way
I
you're
mean,
talking,
it's
you
not
have to.
even it's non-negotiable. I have to, but not everybody is like a bull in a china shop, and it's full on. I've got twins. I've got Kalina, who's nearly a whole adult. She's going to be 21 next
What adult?
week. Whole adult. She's 21 next week. I've got a partner. I've got other things that I need to give my time to, but I also don't like being in a position that I worked hard to get out of, and now I'm back in it through no fault of my own, other than I had to spend a lot of money on solicitors and I took my eye off the ball because I was consumed with that. It's just a little challenge I need to get through for this year, and then I'll be back on it again.
So every one of these challenges that you are talking about right now, and the way you're speaking about how to handle them, you have already grown as a leader, as a boss, as a business owner, as a mother, as a partner. Like, I can hear it already. Like, I can hear how you're looking at business because you have more. So look, let's face it, if I didn't get made redundant and I wouldn't have had that burning hole in my pocket, and the pain that goes through being made redundant, I probably wouldn't have started a business, because I would have been in a cushy, high paying, flying banking job that I had. I had a BMW on the driveway, paid for by the company. I had, a laptop, phone, everything paid for by the company. And then the minute life hits you and you have a pain, you grow and you become better. So because you're going through what you're going through, you're already talking about like how you utilize your time in your business, how you can upsell or upgrade or give a further service to your clients that you perhaps were holding back from them because you didn't need it. You didn't need. So now you're thinking that way, and you're going to help more people.
But I think also, you know, nobody changes unless the pain of staying the
Yes.
same is worse than the pain of change.
Yes.
You know, you hear all of these. I mean, no, I say memes, but they're not memes, are they? All these quotes, you see them everywhere. Everyone says the same thing, but it's only when you're really there, like it's that painful, that you actually listen. People can tell you and tell you and tell you. You know, I had way too many holidays last year because I was running away from the situation that I was in, because I just wanted a bit of joy and a bit of happiness in the crap that was going on. Should I have gone on holiday that many times? No, probably not. Did I take my eye off the ball? Yes, I did. Did I keep my brain actually in a place where I wasn't ready to like say enough is enough? Yeah, like sometimes you just need, my brain needed that space last year.
Yeah, I think you deserve it as well,
And also,
Katie.
you know, mortgages weren't easy last year. No, anyone that says mortgages were easy is lying. They weren't. They're still not easy. They're really, really hard. The job, for the most part, is lovely with the clients, but horrible with the lenders. But it is what it is, and I wouldn't change it for the world. You know, I do work with clients on a mentoring coaching basis now a little bit as well. But my passion, my everything is mortgages and protection. You know, I am that person that just loves what I do. But I've had to make changes, and those changes are being more mindful with my time. You know, it's very easy when there's no stamp duty and interest rates are low and people are coming to you for mortgages to get complacent and to not touch base with the clients that you should do, and not look at everybody the same. And you know, consumer duty was a massive one. What was it, a year and a half ago, where you're supposed to give everybody exactly the same service. And you know, I'm sure I'm not the only one that hasn't.
It's impossible. Like, and also not every person can be treated the same. Everyone needs different levels of support. Everyone needs different levels of attention. Like, not every person is the same. I think this is just another one of those tick box exercises that's like, let's put lots of red tape and make brokers stick within that red tape because, you know, that's just how our industry is. But listen, honey, I know you've got a family, you're giving up your valuable personal private time to be with me here today and with the Money Honeys. This is not the last time you guys will see Katie. This will not be it. We are going to have
I'll
Katie
be debt free
back.
next time.
Yeah, and you're going to tell us how, because I do really need to tap into so much that you've just spoken about, because we haven't had a proper catch up in ages. But my goodness, when you are ready, sometime into the future, there are so many ideas that are bursting out of my head of what you should be doing in terms of content, in terms of courses, in terms of public speaking. And if I ever do rejoin your journey in business, I would love to be a part of it in any way, shape, or form. And if it's just a friendly call to a friend, I just do feel like what you're about to do, because of the situation you're in, is going to explode your personal brand. Like, you're holding back. Even when we were offline here, I was like, what do you want to talk about? You're like, I don't know. You have got so much to give. You've got so much, Katie. And make your journey is going to help someone, because you could stop them from getting into something, or you can help them get out of something. That's it. That's what you stand for. I truly believe that.
Girl power.
Yeah, no, girl, men and female, men and women, both suffer
No, but
with
I
debt.
can only talk as a female, because
As a female, yeah, and that's happened to you. But trust me, money
that's
doesn't
what I
have
am.
a gender.
Oh
Money
no,
doesn't. Money
definitely
doesn't give a
not.
shit about anyone.
No,
Exactly.
no.
Exactly. So I know you can make an impact for the men as well. But listen, guys, girls, boys, whoever's listening to this, because I know there are male listeners as well, and we appreciate you and we thank you.
Are they still called honeys?
Yeah. Even my inquiry form, on my website, it's a bit I think, like, sometimes I wonder if they've noticed, but on my website it says, "Hi honey, how can I help?" And then they reply, and then I don't know if they've ever cottoned on to the fact that it says "Hi honey." So
Mind you, you can call them. Yeah, I guess you do call them a
I
hey
don't know,
honey.
that's
Yeah.
just my thing, but obviously it's on brand. But look, for everybody listening here today, everybody, there is no gender. Everybody's welcome here. But obviously, this is the show where we highlight the talented voices and the females within the industries that have always and predominantly been known as male trades. So that's property, finance, and construction. So if you're new to the show, please come back again. Remember to subscribe so that you're notified of the weekly Friday shows that we release. And if you're a returning listener, thank you once again for supporting. But the best way, as you know, you'll know this by now, it's all about positive pollination. There's no good keeping this to yourself. If this episode has touched your heart or has given you a light bulb moment, please do share it with a friend that you think might benefit from it, or just reach out to Katy and say thanks. Thanks, that was really helpful. I needed to hear that today. I'm going to put my TikTok account to sleep and not buy £3 gimmicks because that is a very bad attitude to have. So thank you, Katy, for being so
No
honest with us.
problem. No problem. Thank
Love
you
you
for
lot. See you soon.
your time.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.